It's the end of the month. Time for another Winnerbox Finals. Welcome back, everybody, to another Winnerbox Finals video. Winnerbox 13 this time, and we've got a first in Winnerbox history, which I guess is not that long. But we have a rematch in the finals. So we've got Nikki here at the top, we've got Ursus down here at the bottom. These two just played in the finals of the previous Winnerbox number 12. They're back here again to face each other in the finals of Winnerbox number 13. Are the rest of you even trying? No, I'm just kidding. But big congratulations to Nikki and Ursus just being here for the second time, back-to-back. Very few players have done that. This event, we had 34 players come out. It spanned about a little over 3 weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks and a day to get to this point. It all culminates with this match here. Nikki looking to go back-to-back. He did beat Ursus in Winnerbox 12, so he's looking to win back-to-back titles. That has only been done one other time by Art LeQuint, who won Winnerbox 4 and Winnerbox 5 back-to-back. And then we've got Ursus. He is also looking for his second Winnerbox title. It just won't be back-to-back. He did win Winnerbox 6 with XYZ Unions, and he's looking to win Winnerbox number 13 with XYZ Unions. So I'm excited. That's the story of this finals. Let's get into it. Rock, paper, scissors, tying here, paper to paper. And then we've got tying again, scissors to scissors. They're battle of the minds here. And Ursus wins it with the scissors. Bit of a misplay from Nikki, throwing the paper, knowing that Ursus had access to the scissors. I don't think it matters, though, because I think both players... I think Ursus always wants to go first, and Nikki always wants to go second. So it shouldn't really be a big deal who won that. But we're going to continue from last Winnerbox video, where we're going to... Some people in the comments said they liked it, so we'll do it again for this video, where we do show the hands of players, and you can kind of get a little bit of insight into the moves that they make with the cards that they have. Whereas hiding the hands, you don't... I guess you can go back and kind of reconstruct the duel on what they had in their hands. Sometimes I don't reveal the cards, so you don't know what was set at the end of a match. But this way, you can at least see the decisions the players do or make with the cards that they have. So Ursus, bit of a misplay here, doesn't open Hanger, but he is just going to summon the biggest monster he's got and set 2 back row. Back over to Nikki here. This seems a little loud. I'm going to turn this down here. Okay, so we've got Nikki activating the Allure. He sees both of his old Vindictives, and that's kind of unfortunate. He's going to have to banish one of them. And just in general, he can't search one of them now off, so he can't use Apprentice to end on an old Vindictive because he has both old Vindictives. So a little unfortunate there with the opening hand. But we'll see what he wants to do here. He's got to deal with the X. He can set either the old Vindictive or the Apprentice. Or he could, I guess, enter Conflict, but that's probably a really bad play. He's going to set the Apprentice. Interesting. He could have set the old Vindictive and gotten some use out of it. Down comes Y. Ursus won't banish. He's just going to go for beatdown here. Sees the Apprentice. It's going to search into another Apprentice. Ursus holds the scramble here as well, which I think is smart. He's already got one down. It's dead anyways, so it doesn't want to clog the background and whatnot. Now here, Ursus sees him go into the third Apprentice. I feel like that should signal to Ursus that he doesn't have an old Vindictive, because I feel like there's no reason not to end on old Vindictive there. I guess unless he just doesn't want to like break the loop, maybe. But you know, you can read it either way. It's like either he really doesn't want to lose his Apprentice Magician loop, or he doesn't have an old Vindictive that he can go into. But Breaker comes down, pops the dead Union Scramble. See, he flips up the Apprentice Magician and gives the counter to Breaker. And then Breaker's going to pop what we know is the offerings. Ursus is actually going to chain it. He's going to hit the Apprentice, which means that it's not going to get its effect or anything. So I don't know how Ursus wants to read that, but I feel like you could read it as he has the old Vindictive in his hand, the second one in his hand. But Ursus is going to lose his board here. The Breaker gets over the Y. The Zomas crash. The Zoma crashes into the X and does 18. Ursus can't draw off the offerings, so he does just have a scramble, but he does have monsters in the grave because for some reason XYZ Unions are allowed to use the graveyard. Balanced deck. I'm kidding. Down comes XY. It's the one that pops face-up spells and traps, but there is no face-up spell and trap right now. The Zoma left the field last turn. So Ursus is going to get back the X and then summon it. He can't do damage this turn. But maybe he's just playing around Creature Swap or Inner Conflict, I think. He doesn't want to have an open board. So he's just going to get back the X and summon something. Because here, technically, he has the Union Scramble. But if something happens to that, this could potentially be game. So I think he just wants something to not get Creature Swapped or not get Inner Conflict. Because he didn't have to do that, but he did. But Dark Red comes down. Nikki doesn't have his skill anymore. Ursus sees Hanger. He was due for a Hanger. He's got 3 in his deck. He hasn't seen one yet, so just a bit of time, you know, until he sees the Hanger. He's gonna search Z, which I don't think he saw both of his Ys yet. So I think he's choosing Z specifically so that he can go into XYZ if he wants to. Because if he searches Y here, he can't. Because of the mechanics, you summon the Y, you get the Z in the spell and trap card zone, you don't have a Z to actually banish for the skill. So, yeah, it's like X is in the grave, and Z is in the spell and trap card zone. The skill uses the graveyard in the monster zone. The actual summoning mechanic of the XYZs uses the monster zone and the spell and trap card zone. So if he has Z in the spell and trap card zone, X in the grave, you can't use either of them. So I think he searches the Z specifically so that he can go into XYZ. But he also summons a Z here and activates his effect to attach to Y, which I do think is a smart play. A lot of people, you know, heads up play from Ursus, who has so much experience with XYZs. I feel like lesser experienced players may not make that play. To just leave the monsters on the field, get the big beater, and then if something happens to them, here it got booked, he's able to just go into XYZ on the next turn. Which here, this Dark Red Enchanter is 2,900. So if he just made XYZ, it actually would have died to a Dark Red Enchanter. He would have booked the XYZ and then potentially killed it. So he does have a scramble. I guess he could pop it. Would also be a play that Nikki has. So, but I do think it was smart to attach the Z. He banishes though, goes in XYZ. He has a scramble in the grave. He has a card in hand that he can pitch, so he can pop both face downs here. And I'm just seeing Nikki, unfortunately, has drawn all 3 of his Dark Red Enchanters, a monarch you usually don't see very often. So it's interesting that he plays 3 of them, but he's in the finals, so I guess it must be putting in work. But unfortunately, he saw all 3, which is not very good. Basically, 2 dead draws out of Nikki here. Nikki usually plays Dark Moth, so he is used to seeing dead draws. Did you draw from Doomed? Ursus did not draw from Doomed. So we are good here. All is good. So we've got XYZ's effect here. It's going to pop the Dark Red. Nikki will not lose this turn because Union Combination went off. So Nikki won't be taking battle damage. So this unfortunately will be a 2,900 Dark Red that has to go to the grave. Or is it 28? No, it's 29. Yeah. Goes up to 23, and then it's got 2 more counters, so it's 29. Unfortunately, it will have to go to the grave. And I use Alpha Tooth and did draw, yep. And then Nikki's going to see an Allure. That will get rid of a dead Dark Red and give him 2 different cards. Book and Creature Swap. He doesn't have a monster to Creature Swap here. That would be fantastic. What a rip if he saw a monster here with Creature Swap, but unfortunately, it does have the Dark Red Enchanter, so he can't Creature Swap here. Ursus can pop a back row if he wants. He's going to. Now, interesting, Ursus may play around Zoma here, I feel. It's going to get booked. He can book it. Or sorry, he can flip it back face up if he wants. It'll be in attack mode, though, and a Zoma would be lethal. We've only seen 1. So he may... We know that it's a dead Creature Swap. But Ursus may choose to play around Zoma here. And he's going to banish here for another monster, so at least he doesn't... I guess he doesn't want to attack, so might as well just use the effect that leads to no battle damage. Nikki sees a monster for the Creature Swap, but interestingly enough, Ursus's board can't really be Creature Swapped at this point. If he summons Sphere, Creature Swaps... I'm assuming Ursus will give him the face down XYZ. He can't do anything with that. It then goes back to Ursus. and he pitches a card to pop the XYZ. So really smart play from Ursus. He's played both around the Zoma and he's played around the creature swap, which is going to be game here. He can only stop one of these attacks, depending on what he wants to do. And then he doesn't pop the back row. Hold up. He didn't pop the back row. Was he playing around Zoma? Maybe he thought that if it was Zoma, it would have been flip face up or something. I don't know. I feel like he didn't swing. He didn't flip up the XYZ because he wanted to play around Zoma. But then he just swung with the YZ without popping what could have been a Zoma. I don't know. I thought that board looked good, though. It couldn't be creature swap, basically, and I think that was a really good play. So, and here we go. So Nikki lost, and so he takes second. So yeah, both players. Nikki always won second. Ursus always wins first, I think. So yeah, the rock, paper, scissors didn't really matter. But Ursus, again, not opening hanger, but he does open X. And he pitches the Z, and he has Y. So he does have XYZ. He's just going to go straight into XZ. In defense, no point for it being an attack. Sets the scramble, which is now live. Over to Nikki. Sees doubles on the book. He can just, he could get aggressive, he could go into conflict, or he could set the old Vindictive with Zoma book. So he is going to do that. I think he doesn't want to settle Vindictive. It can just get popped, right, if he somehow goes into YZ. So he's just going to go aggressive. Maybe also thinks that Ursus bricked. He didn't open the scramble, but the hanger. But the fact that he did banish those cards does mean he probably has scramble. So I feel like maybe a misplay using a very important skill when it's just going to get scrambled here, and then he's going to go into XYZ and be able to pop the Dark Red Enchanter. And then so he bring this out and attack because this Dark Red Enchanter only has 1700 attack. So because he discarded the 2 counters on it, I don't know why he's still showing 1 counter, but he discounted. Maybe it's a spectator bug, but he discounted both counters to discard this Y last turn. But there's the banish, there's the XYZ, most likely coming out in defense mode again to play around Lost Wind, things like that. Foolish Burial to pop the Dark Red Enchanter. Nikki can't really do anything about that. Banishes Scramble here. So I think we saw this game 1 where I think he's just banishing for X and is going to summon it to play around Creature Swap. Because he could discard it and just start popping back row, but I think he is just consciously playing around Creature Swap. He doesn't want to lose the XYZ. He doesn't want to leave the XYZ on the field alone so that it gets Creature Swapped. And here's the Creature Swap. So good play. If he didn't do that, he would have lost his XYZ. Of course, the XYZ is in defense mode, so he wouldn't lose like immediately that turn with some sort of weird OTK. But Nikki does have the Creature Swap. The Zoma's up. He's deciding if he wants to banish the old Vindictive or the Break. I think it's correct to banish the old Vindictive. Won't get much mileage out of that. It will just more than likely be popped. Breaker can get over the X2, which now leaves Ursus without a monster on the board to protect from a follow-up turn Creature Swap. Z he could summon so it doesn't get Creature Swapped. But it's just gonna, I think, yeah, Z is terrible to see because he already has XZ anyways. He can't go into a purple dude with that, so. Not really much that he can do. Doesn't really see a way to play around the Creature Swap. He's just gonna pop something. Does hit a Zoma. Which chaining, again, for people who don't know rulings, doesn't do anything. XZ Dragon Cannon doesn't matter if it remains a face down. And he's just gonna get aggressive here, which I think he may be reading Creature Swap. He may just be like, there's no point in playing around. You know, you could try and play around the 3rd Zoma. There's probably not a 3rd Zoma. He's just gonna get aggressive. If he's reading Creature Swap here, he thinks that Nikki has the Creature Swap. He's probably just like, well, I lose now, no matter what, pretty much. I guess he could put the Breaker's 19. He could leave this in defense. If it gets Creature Swapped, it has to stay in defense. He could pitch a card, I guess, and hit for 18, but I think he's just going aggressive here. Looks like they are experiencing a little bit of lag. Or at least Ursus is. Nikki's thinking, I think you just let the Breaker, because he has book. We know that. If he books this, or if he books this, then he can't, whenever he Creature Swaps, it'll be face down next turn. And then potentially Ursus can top deck a YZ and pop it. So, or top deck a Y, go into YZ and then pop it. So I think it's very strict. You don't book. I think it's the, you don't book. He sees an Apprentice though off the top. That means that this is game. If he can see, yep, summon the Apprentice, Creature Swap, That's lethal damage. So before, Ursus would have gotten a second turn to maybe see a Y and go into a, but now it's over with that apprentice off the top. So we're going game 3. Last time it only made it to game 2, so we do get a game 3 from these guys this time. Interesting to know, Nikki is not playing Dark Moth this time, by the way. He's playing Apprentice Monarchs. So he went to the finals with 2 separate decks. That's, you know, deserves a little bit of credit. 24 card Apprentice Monarchs. But Ursus does decide to open Hanger. Good choice by him. And no monsters. I think that's exactly what XYZs want, is maybe you want to see an X. I don't know if it's better to just open the X or be able to foolish the X. You know, it's probably depends on the matchup and blah, blah, blah. But Hanger plus back row is really, really nice. Now, Ursus did not banish to make a purple boy. So I think that should signal to Nikki that these are not Union Scramble. Right? Because usually they will always banish to make their Union Scramble live. They don't want it to just die, or they'll leave it in their hand if it's not live. So Nikki's going to cycle through his deck here. Double Allure. He's going to banish his Apprentice Engine. Doesn't really do that much in this matchup anyways, because they can just make the YZ purple dude that pops it. XYZ also pops it. Breaker comes down, immediately gets booked, because it can pop the Z and then swing over the Y. And that can get ugly. Sets 3 back row. What does Ursus? Draws another Hanger. He cannot go into, I guess. Oh, okay, so he's going to use his effect to bring up the Z. And then he could go into XYZ, but I feel like this is not the time to do that. So yeah, he's going to activate a second Hanger, which is going to search him a Y. I don't think he's going for the Z this time. I think it made sense to go for the Z the time that he did it, but usually you will be going for the Y. So you grab the Y, normal summons the Y, which will get him a Z, and now he's 3 wide here, and all of these monsters get over the breaker. So, Nikki, did he see double? Wow, he saw double Zoma book again. I think he saw that last game, but he did win that game. So, yep, I think it's correct. Don't spend any back row. Ursus swinging with the biggest one first, maybe a mistake against Zoma. So he's just going to stop that attack swing with the Z, which will only be 15. He has 2 Zomas, which would be lethal if they're able to get into this this wide Z. So yeah, Nikki's going to book to protect this Zoma so that on next turn he can crash these into this and go for game. But we know, unfortunately, that is not a dead scramble. That is an Offerings, which shuts this whole play down. Unfortunately, he sees creature swap. Which I guess he could look to do. Creatures give him a Zoma and most likely take this, which isn't really worth that much. I think that because this is Offerings specifically, because he could like creature swap and then tribute for like Dark Red, that doesn't make any sense. He has game. If he's able to swing both these into this, he has game. Because this is 21, but I don't think so. He is going to enter conflict. I'm trying to think if there's a way for him to get around the inner conflict. Again, this is Offerings. So if he doesn't enter conflict, he just loses next turn. So I do think he needed to get down a 3rd monster. So here comes attack number 1. Ursus is going to let it go. He's not just going to immediately Offerings. Get rid of one of the Zomas. And then he will be able to get rid of this one. Ursus reminds Nikki he does take damage from Zoma, so he will take 300. Offerings comes down, and now Nikki is not in a very good spot. Because Ursus again does have access to XYZ. Next turn, or any of the purple boys that he wants. He can pick which one of these he wants to attack over. It's not that big of a deal. I do think you go over the YZ, just don't let him have the 21. Monster. Plus he can bring up the Z potentially, which is kind of annoying. So he'll have just a wide board. I do think you swing over the YZ, and then if he goes in XYZ, he'll only have 2 monsters. Whereas if you swing over this, he can, or I guess he'd only have 2 monsters either way. He does have to use a Y. No matter what. So he's going to swing over the Z. Again, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. He has to skip his draw phase. Remembers that from Offerings. Good. It's probably just a muscle reflex, immediately turning off auto draw when you Offerings. But here comes the XYZ. Which, unfortunately, this dark red is only 3 counters from the offerings that went off. So this XYZ, 1 more counter would have been enough. But this XY, or the dark red's only 26. So XYZ will get over it. Nikki will not be taking damage because this skill was used. Looking good. And he has the follow-up creature swap, but Ursus has a monster on the board he has the Y that he can just give over. So not looking good for Nikki. I don't know what he can top deck. His skill is gone. Whatever he summons is going to get popped. Book and creature swap. This again, we saw this game. We can set both and maybe live if Ursus tries to play around a Zoma or something. I think this is the only play to set both. I don't know what cards Nikki can top deck here to get out of this. I don't think there are any cards that Apprentice Monarchs runs. You know, maybe like Awaking and hope that like Awaking gets popped. He doesn't have a Scramble in the grave. He hasn't seen Scramble at all, actually, so he might be due for a Scramble, though he's probably gonna discard it if he does see one. Versus sees one. He's gonna set both, and we'll see. I don't necessarily think he needs to pop one. Critically, Ursus is at 14, so if Zoma does come up, it wouldn't necessarily be lethal, because Ursus can just stop the attack, and then the Zoma can swing over one of these for 300, but that's not enough. So yeah, he needs to have the XYZ in defense. So he's going to put the XYZ in defense to play around the Zoma. The Y in attack doesn't matter, because if the Zoma does come up, he just stops the attack. And Nikki top decks a pretty much dead Lost Wind. I think that this is just game, unless Ursus disconnects right here. Nope, Nikki calls it GG's. That's the end of Winnabox 13. Ursus is your Winnabox 13 champion. He gets his revenge, denies Nikki the back-to-back. He will win this one close. I agree. Zoma, he's at C, so he was thinking the Zoma. It is book. But congratulations to Ursus. He becomes the 2nd player in Winnabox history to be a 2-time Winnabox champion. Nikki, very close to the back-to-back. He did get here again with another deck. Stick to Dark Moth, dude. No, I'm kidding. Seriously, congratulations just for being here a 2nd time. Always impressive. I know that Ursus has done it. We've seen Stevie do it. We've seen Art LeQuint do it. Nikki do it. But only Art LeQuint has got the back-to-back. So, congratulations again to Ursus. He is now a 2-time Winnabox champion, making the XYZs look balanced. But that's going to do it for Winnabox 13. We're now going to get into the deck breakdowns, and we've got a deck or two that's pretty spicy, so stick around for that. Alright guys, here we are with the deck breakdown for Winnabox number 13. As I said before, 34 players in this event, and we go bottom to top here. So we've got Tribal Synergy. I respect the effort. We've got Stego Moth here. This is Maverick on his bullshit again, trying to make this deck work. Now, he did make a finals. Winnabox, I think it was Winnabox 11. He went all the way to the finals, did lose, unfortunately, but piloted this deck to 2nd place. I believe he ran the same list again this time, so he ran it back. This time for Winnabox 13, he went 1-3 and then dropped, so it happens. We've got Meteor B Dragon. Played. This was my buddy Indy, who does have a Duel Links YouTube channel that he no longer uploads to. But this is Meteor B Dragon. It functions similar to Dark Moth, I guess I'll say, where it's just an OTK focused strategy where you pop all your opponent's back row, and then you make the Meteor B Dragon using the Fusion Party skill. You swing, and then you defusion to get out Meteor Dragon and Red Eyes Black Dragon, and swing with those two for lethal. So that's the OTK with Meteor B Dragon. It went 3-3, so it was, close to topping. 3-3 is not a bad record, so very interesting deck. We've got IC Warriors, which IC Warriors, the IC Monarchs up here, a bit of they're cousins, I guess you could say. The IC Warrior variant just puts a little bit more emphasis on the Warrior monsters, it will run free the Matchless General as its Monarch. It'll run things like Blade Knight, maybe Command Knight, Exiled Force, Rhoda, things like that. So it's an inner conflict deck that just puts a lot of emphasis on warriors. So it gets the denomination IC Warriors. You'll see it everywhere. Usually we've got 1 or 2 people playing it almost every Winner box. We've got Gaia Relinquished was a deck this Winner box. It also went 3-3 compared to Meteor Beast, so you know, a couple random rogue decks not doing too bad, I guess. This deck just uses Gaia. It's exactly what it sounds like. It uses Gaia with Relinquish, so Gaia plus the Gaia skill and then the Relinquish package. No idea how it works, but I guess it's just combining 2 packages that are kind of win conditions on their own into one, and you can usually find success with that. So, piloted by Tensei, 3-3, not bad. Dark Paladin, we've always got at least 1 Dark Paladin. I don't think the deck is any good. I think it needs more pieces, but we've always got a person or 2 willing to try it out every Winner box. Dark Magician Moth, not Dark Moth, Dark Magician Moth, and it topped. So this is Cursive's invention, or I guess I should say JDG Cursive, but he's got a YouTube channel that you should check out that does speed duel content specifically, but this is his abomination, and it's Dark Moth, only instead of Night Beams and Cyclones and things like that, you replace those with Dark Magicians, Dark Magic Curtains, and Champions Vigilances, which is again is just piling on the idea of combining the Moth package with another decent package. In this case, the Dark Magician package, which is just, I assume, Dark Magician, Vigilance, and Dark Magic Curtain, and then you apply the Moth package to it. And we see a lot of decks here and in previous Winner boxes that simply apply the Moth package to an already established win condition package. So speaking of which, we've got one right above it, Apprentice Moth. I believe this is Ron Wiz, because he's the only player that I know that plays this, but it is the Moth package with the Apprentice package. That's Apprentice Magician, and Old Vindictives and stuff like that. And it functions very similar to a stall Moth. I know he also plays it a lot in the Extravaganza. He finds success there from what I've seen, so it's a pretty solid deck. And as you can see, proven by the fact that he topped. So, and then we've got Dark Moth, more Moth, yay! But this time it is the more known one, Dark Moth, and it's got no tops. 0 for 2 for Dark Moth for this event. It did top, or sorry, not top, Bubble. We did have Septembus Bubble with it, so I guess that's a silver lining, but no Dark Moth tops. Usually we don't see Dark Moth top unless it's ran in high numbers, like 5+. Is usually, maybe 4, you'll start to see tops, but 2, you're kind of giving into the randomness of the deck. You know, just a couple bricks and you don't top. So only 2 people topped, or sorry, only 2 people played it, and so nobody topped, it looks like. But moving on, we got XYZ Unions, 4 people play. I'm not used to seeing XYZ Unions under TP Warriors and Magnet Warriors here, but it is, and 4 people played it. We did have only 1 top, but as you saw if you watched the finals, that top went all the way. Ursus piloting it to the victory, while the other 3 players cheer him on, no doubt. in the sea of Monarch decks and Moth decks and TP Warriors, XYZ is able to run the gauntlet and come out with first place. So only 1 top, only 4 players, but that's all the deck needs to win the tournament. TP Warriors, which is definitely on, I think I've said this like multiple times, but it's definitely on the rise in terms of play. It used to be down here as like 1, maybe 2, but you're seeing 5, as many people chose to play TP Warriors as IC Monarchs, Apprentice Monarchs, more than XYZ Unions, more than Dark Moth. So it's definitely on the rise. I think it's a very consistent deck. It's one of the only decks where the skill does not rely on pretty much any pieces. You don't need to see a Monarch like Inner Conflict, don't need to see specific XYZ pieces like Union Combination, don't need to see Paranoid like Dark Moth. So it works on its own. If somebody's taking damage, you're getting counters and you can use it. So very, very consistent deck that I think people should definitely be prepared for, because it's out there. I think, let's see, 2 people topped. I'm pretty sure it made top 4. I think it was Nathan that went. Nathan finished first place in Swiss with TP Warriors, and then he lost in top 4 2-1. So they were this close to greatness. That is like the mantra of TP Warriors. It has happened multiple times now where TP Warriors finishes first in Swiss and then loses heartbreakingly 2-1 in the top 4. So I think that maybe people aren't really as familiar with the deck because it never wins and it never makes it to the finals. But it is definitely a very, very heavily played deck that you need to be prepared for. Magnet Warriors. Yikes. 0 for 5. Magnet Warriors is no stranger to 0 for 5 because they went 0 for 5 last Winabox. So 0 for 5 and Winabox 13, 0 for 5 and Winabox 12. So, I don't know. I think the deck is just mapped out. It's, you know, pretty much essentially just a field spell deck. I know some people have talked about taking out Valkyrion. I don't remember when that really started becoming popular. I think that that's a mistake. Like, yeah, Valkyrion's a brick, but it's also one of your win conditions. Like, without Valkyrion, this deck it literally only wins via its field spell. So if you lose the field spell, you have no other win condition. Whereas with Valkyrion, you can at least try and get out the Valkyrion as a second win condition. And so maybe that's what's causing the 0 for 10 showing these last two Winaboxes that Magnets has put forth, as people are just taking out their Valkyrions and it's not working out. But I don't know. We'll see next Winabox whenever a bunch of people play it. It's a very popular deck. It's a very, I guess, fan favorite deck, but just doesn't do well. I don't think it's won since Art looked, or no, Stevie almost won. He made a finals. Yeah, Stevie's performance, Winabox 10 maybe, and then Art Look went Winabox 5 are really the only two things Magnet Warriors has to show in this format. And we are in August now, so it's been like 9 months. Those are really the only two performances that have been worth noting. So we'll see though. There's always next Winabox. IC Monarchs. 1 person topped off 5. I know there was a couple bubbles with it. It's just known as like Mr. Consistent for the decks. It's almost like vanilla bread, to be honest. Or what is it? I forget the saying, where it's like plain old noodle soup is IC Monarchs. But 1 person top. They did lose in top 4 to Ursus. But it go another tournament for IC Monarchs where it is not won in 9 months. So increase the count. I think last Winabox was at 8 months. We just increased it to 9 months without IC Monarchs winning a tournament. So keep a count. I'm enjoying. Keep the count going. IC Monarchs has not won in 9 months. And then lastly, we've got Apprentice Monarchs, IC Monarchs' cousin, with 5 plays, 2 tops, and we did see it in the finals there with Nikki. Unfortunately, did lose. So no victory for Apprentice Monarchs, but it's still around and it's still doing pretty well. These decks, really, if you're new to the game, these decks here, I'd say these 6 decks here: Apprentice, IC, Magnet, TP, XYZ, Unions, and Dark Moth. Everything under that, pretty rogue, pretty meh. But these 6 are definitely in the upper echelons, tier 1, tier 2 of the format. But that's going to do it for our Winabox number 13 deck breakdown. If you would like to get in on these tournaments, the largest ongoing Speed Duel tournaments around, the Speed Duel League Winabox, you can simply join the Speed Duel League Discord. The link to that is in the description below. You can sign up in the sign up channel, comment in the sign up channel, and then send me your deck list, Alum Lion, and you're in. That's all you have to do. They are free entry. They are 72-hour rounds, and the winner, it's Swiss, and the winner will get their choice between any Speed Duel booster box, or I guess any singular Speed Duel product, like the Battle City box or starter decks, any Speed Duel product, one of any Speed Duel product, or $50 goes to the winner. So whichever one you fancy. The next Winabox is Winabox number 14. We are taking signups for that. You can see the graphic on the screen. For more information on that, you can also, again, join the Speed Duel League Discord, which you need to do anyways to sign up. And even if you didn't want to sign up for the Winbox, you can join the Speed Duel League Discord because it is the best place for all things Speed Duels. But signups are going on for Winabox number 14. It starts in less than a week. It's going to start this Friday, September 3rd. Join the Speed Duel League Discord for more information on that. What else? We have a new tournament. So if you were tired of the Winaboxes or you wanted something more Speed Duel action beyond just the monthly Winabox, we now have a weekly tournament courtesy of Rook's Table. He is also a Speed Duel YouTuber that you should definitely check out. But he is now hosting a weekly tournament in the Speed Duel League Discord called the Speed Duel Showdown. That is every Monday night. If you live in North America, it's Monday night. If you live in Europe, it's early morning, unfortunately. But every Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. It is not free entry. It is $5 entry fee. The format for the event is single elimination. You play until you lose, and then you're out. It's like a bracket. And then to sign up, same way with the Winabox, comment in the sign up channel, send Rook your deck list, not me. You send Rook's table your deck list, and then you're in. You also have to PayPal Rook $5 because it is a $5 entry fee. The payout it starts at $20, which we put forth as the organizers. We put $20 into the pot, and then every person who signs up adds $5 to the pot. That's your $5 entry fee. It goes to the prize, or goes to the prizing. And then the top 3 players. So Win-A-Box only gets payout to top 1. Showdown gives payout to top 3. I think it's a 60, 30, 10, 60%, 30%, and then 10% payout to first, second, and third of whatever the prize pool is. So the more people that sign up, the higher the prize. But it is not free. It is a $5 entry fee. Unless you are participating this Monday, because for probably one time only, the Showdown is actually going to be free entry this Monday. It's Showdown number 3. I am going to be hosting it. Rook, unfortunately, is going to be out of town, so I'm going to step in and host it, and I will just make it free entry. Everything else is the same. You comment in the sign-up channel, send your deck list. Starts at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. The difference being every sign-up adds $5 to the pool, but you don't have to pay the $5. We will front the $5. So that's the difference. Showdown every Monday. I'm putting this video up at the end of Saturday, so you don't get much. You got a little bit of a time for the Win-A-Box. The Win-A-Box doesn't start for a little under a week, but the Showdown starts, or this Showdown, one of the free ones, starts in 2 days. But again, the Showdown is every single week, so if you can't make this one, you can always make another one. But yeah, so the Speed Duel League has now gone weekly. We have a weekly tournament alongside our monthly tournament. Anything else to sign up for? I think that's it. Sign up for the Win-A-Box, sign up for the Showdown. Also, the DuelingBook ladder, if you like playing speed duels online, you play speed duels, they have a ranked ladder with a leaderboard. If you finish inside the top 5 on that leaderboard, you get points to the Speed Duel League leaderboard, which also gives cash prizes at the end of every season. So that happened. The points are awarded at the end of every month. So you need to be inside the top 5 at the end of the month at midnight. Otherwise, you're not getting points. And since it's the end of the month, every time we do one of these videos, you should just assume whenever Win-A-Box final video comes out, you need to be, playing DuelingBook, getting inside the top 5. So if you're inside the top 5, you will get points at the end of this month. If you are not, you need to play more games and get inside the top 5. And I think that's it for announcements. So sign up for the Win-A-Box, sign up for the Showdown, and remember to compete on the DuelingBook ladder and get inside the top 5 at the end of every month. That should do it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Congratulations again to Ursus for becoming a 2-time Win-A-Box champion. And I will see you guys in the next video.